What's up, everyone? Welcome to a new real estate video from FiveRocks. Today with our special guest, Tobias Hänschke, founder of the professional Munich-based property developer FiveRocks Development SE. Glad that you're here today with us, Tobias, to give us some exclusive insights on the German real estate market.
Yeah, thanks for having me in your interview. I'm really glad to speak to your community, and especially about the great topic, real estate and real estate investing.
Our community, which is the best community in the world, by the way, is very interested in German real estate. And the market is currently in turmoil as we've never seen it before. We got interest rates that are skyrocketing almost every day. The war in Ukraine, inflation is on a 40-year high. How do you see the future of the German real estate market as a professional property developer?
Yes, I think you mentioned the right questions that there are in the right time right now in terms of what's going on in the world, and especially in also here in Germany with rising interest rates and inflation, of course, which is a very great topic for us, of course. Especially the rising interest rates have an influence on how we develop our project and how we look on the projects in the first step. Of course, it's very important to have a close look and to go into deep scenario analysis for rising interest rates and also for the outlook of it. And therefore, in our calculations, we in the first step do a huge discount on the sales prices in general. So then we can have, of course, in the acquisition price and all the costs which are in between, and then when we discount do a discount on the exit prices, then we have, of course, some buffer in the end, so that we don't get some experience or like some surprises in the end when we want to sell it. So of course, this is a huge topic for us right now.
Mm-hmm. So you think with the right preparation and with the right numbers, real estate can still be a good investment in the near future?
Yes, in general. However, despite the rising interest rates, I mean, years ago we had higher interest rates as well. Of course, the prices were lower than right now, sure. But when you look on this topic as a professional investor or like a private investor also who wants to invest in real estate, of course, the interest rates are very important in their calculation also. But beside this, I think the wisdom of location, which is for every real estate investor very important. When you have good objects in good locations, the interest rates, of course, have an impact. But in the long term, I don't think they will influence too much. And especially as an investor, of course, you have some special deduction from taxes and whatever from the government, which would be reducing the interest rates also. So long said but short, in a short summary, real estate is very important, and I think in terms of gaining assets and doing their long-term strategy, real estate is always has a big influence.
Mm-hmm. I completely agree, especially given that there's hardly any alternative, maybe stocks, but that's also quite volatile right now because interest rates on German bank accounts are still zero. But I feel it speaks a lot, as you and your team, you work full-time in the real estate industry. So I think it speaks a lot if you still believe that real estate is a good asset class to have.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very long, it has a long history, real estate. I mean, people need to live anytime. So they're also in the future, I think, with people emigrating to Germany from other countries. We see it right now with Ukraine. We have a lot of people leaving Ukraine and going to Europe, and we had it in 2015. I think it was a huge wave of immigrants also, and we need to have spaces, and also like we need to have new and energy efficient buildings for the future. We have a lot of old buildings in Germany also, which are not which are poor in terms of sustainability. So this is a big topic, and for us, we love to build new buildings. Of course, it's kind of easier in the first step because we just have property and then we can develop it, and so this is for us, I think, a good future.
Mm-hmm. Before we come to your business, yourself and FiveRocks, you mentioned there's some commonalities between a private investor investing in real estate and you doing it as a business, a tax deductible interest rate, for example. But from knowing our community, they are very well in comparing apples with oranges. So would you please elaborate what's in your mind the difference between a private person investing in real estate or maybe developing real estate as kind of a hobby or something, and you really doing it together with your team as a business, as a professional property developer?
Yeah, of course, for us it's a profession, and we do it like in a commercial way. Of course, therefore we do it full time. And I mean, the big difference from private investors to like commercial investors is, of course, the private investors, they probably can't do it full time, and therefore they're somehow limited in their possibilities. Of course, they can reach some certain levels where they can maybe do a smaller development, a single home, for example, which is happening a lot of times, where people just build a single home. That's very perfectly fine. But I think when you reach some certain levels, you can't do it like a part-time job. It's impossible. So in this case, and of course, it's in terms of time perspective, from a private person investing into real estate, for example, in receiving yearly rents or monthly rents, this is a long time period over, like, let's say 10 years, for example. And in our developments usually range between 18 and 36 months. So it's short term, let's call it. And in comparison to the returns, first of all, we have probably higher returns in absolute numbers. But when you calculate, for example, 4% every year on annual rent over 10 years, you have 40, of course. Easy calculation. And this is, of course, more lucrative than doing short-term developments. Mm-hmm. So, but going back to this, it's also a strategy from FiveRocks, but I think we will talk about this also later.
We can actually talk about it right now. Yeah, we got to know each other a couple of months ago, right? We're both young, still ambitious, and try to offer people really good investment opportunities, especially in the real estate business, that are not there just yet. So please tell us a little more about your company, FiveRocks. Okay.
Yeah. So our business model is not only simple. I think it's very real. You know, it's in terms of real estate. We talk about real projects, and we consider ourselves right now as a classical real estate developer when we build projects and then we sell it again. But our long-term strategy is definitely that we want to get properties, get the construction permit, do the construction by ourselves and our companies, and then keeping it in our portfolio. So we can achieve long-term yearly income and rental, and do the asset management for our projects themselves. So right now, FiveRocks has roughly of 30 million of assets under management, which are located in North Rhine-Westphalia, so Düsseldorf and Mönchengladbach, which is a little bit far west from Düsseldorf. And then we have a new project which we acquired 1 month ago in Dachau, which is in the Munich area, and the S-Bahn region, which is a very powerful statement in terms, when we come back to location in terms of real estate. So this is what we currently have done and have in our pipeline, and therefore we take a close look at 4 different projects in the southern Germany area. So it's in Stuttgart and in Munich, in the suburb of Munich, and also one in Nuremberg. So some interesting locations. We have existing buildings, what we want to revitalize and do like a energy efficiency program on it. And then we have 2 new constructions with we bought just property and then do the building on it.
Great. I always think in these terms that when we look at potential property developers to work with, I really like it if they build it themselves or develop the property, but are willing to manage it afterwards, because this really speaks to that they really believe in this property, in the strategy, and they're not letting this go to waste. I think that's great.
Yes. Yeah, I think so too. I mean, when we can do all the value chain by ourselves, so why should we sell it all the time? Right. Maybe, of course, sometimes it makes maybe sense to sell it. But yeah, you're right. Then we can prove that we stand behind the projects and that we really want to have it in our portfolio. Yes.
You mentioned location, and from checking your website, you have a clear focus on the B and the C cities. So you basically avoid like also the center of Munich maybe, or Frankfurt and Berlin, like the A locations that are really expensive. So what I'm saying in all the videos always too, that people should focus on the B and the C locations. Maybe tell us a little bit more, why do you have that focus?
Yes, yeah, of course. First of all, the A locations in cities like Munich, for example, or Frankfurt or Berlin, they have a huge, the competitors are huge. Of course, we are a small company, yet we're growing and we're growing fast. But and despite this, it just makes sense to go into B and C locations. I mean, we saw the crisis with COVID-19, so people work from home, and like the focus of working at home is more up to date than it has been before. So in this case, it means the demand in B and C cities for living is increasing, and therefore, of course, also the prices are increasing, which is for us in the first hand sometimes difficult to negotiate, because the land is also increasing, of course. But on the other side, there is a huge demand, so we are not worried about selling our buildings in these B and C city locations. And on the long term, I think this is great for people to live in these locations, because they have kind of security in terms of economy and like also like the way they want to live. And so B and C city locations, I think in the long run, they are very, very demanded.
I completely agree. So people stop looking at the A locations, not worth it.
Yeah, I mean, of course, there are a lot of buyers in these A locations, but sometimes it's maybe more prestige to buy there. Also, but when you look at the returns, like the yearly returns, they are pretty low. Of course, the increase of value in these assets is, of course, huge. But like the money you get on your bank account is, in terms of percentages, very low.
You mentioned FiveRocks is growing. It's a young company like Perfinex, but you're growing. So what does the near future hold for FiveRocks?
Yes, I mean, we started to issue a convertible bond right now. So this is a huge step for us, because with this money we want to attract with this emission, we're trying to be more quick in terms of acquisition, because it's not only the rising interest rates, which is a big pressure on the market right now. It's also how fast the banks and investors can right now take their decisions. So for us, speed is sometimes king, and also in the B and C locations around Munich or Stuttgart or Nuremberg, for example, it's very good to be quick. So this convertible bond should give us power in terms of acquisition and of course speed, and therefore we took this chance, and yeah, right now we're happy to welcome investors on board who want to invest in our company, who want to go with us on the market, and who want to become a part of FiveRocks.
So we have basically a chance to become a part of your success story. Tell us maybe a little bit more about this convertible bond. What is it really, and what's the benefit for an investor?
Yeah, it's so-called the convertible bond is the best out of two worlds, you can say. So you have on the one side, you have a yearly interest rate, which is paid by us as like the lenders, and then you have the chance to become a shareholder when you do the conversion of this debt, first of all, or this bond into shares. So we give investors the opportunity to convert their investment into shares later, for example, with an IPO when we want to go public, and therefore we give the investors a discount on the price of the shares. So the stock price will be deducted, like let's say 30 to 40%, depends on the time frame of conversion. But I think this is a huge benefit for the investors in terms of yield.
Mm-hmm. So you're looking to use that money to grow and then go public soon-ish.
Yes. So with this convertible bond, we want to have at least the option to go public and to give our investors real shares with a real market price, but if we don't go public and say, okay, the market maybe is not the right time for going public, we will pay back the debt and give additionally 3.5% on 5 years. So each year 3.5% additional interest. So then in the total, the investors get 7% interest on every year for the investment.
That's a pretty good return considering it's debt, which is pretty secure, and you seem to have a solid business model with real estate.
Yes, I mean, this is the advantage of a real estate company to give investors real assets. I mean, yes, we really want to use it for acquisitions. We are a pretty small team. We're an efficient team, so we don't have many holding level costs. Let's say, so our expenses are pretty solid and pretty low, actually. This is the feedback also from the banks, by the way. They say your expenses are pretty low, which is good, I think. And so we don't need to spend it for offices in the center of Munich. It's just stupid. We really want to use it for acquisitions. And then, of course, we can give investors collateral in terms of assets.
Smart, great business. Thank you very much for the interview, Tobias, and on your insights. Nobody of us has any insights like you do from working for many years full time in the real estate business. Is there anything else that you'd like to share with the community?
I mean, yes, and I just can welcome everyone to take this chance and invest in real estate. And I mean, we were talking also lately about the options of how we can give options to investors like as co-investment models. So therefore, we want to give them the chance, first of all, by our convertible bond, but also by issuing a token, for example, where investors can have like a real asset and a real partial ownership of an object. So this is the next step, what we want to do, and therefore grow a community of investors who want to follow and be part of FiveRocks. And yeah, so the community is highly welcome to do so and be part of our success story.
Yeah, the future for FiveRocks works perfectly for the beginning of the tokens. Yeah, people would benefit from property development, which there's no possibility as of right now to really do it for one single project. And afterwards, we could convert the property development tokens to rental tokens, basically. And afterwards, the people could profit from you managing this property, and they could get passive income from the rents.
Yes. So also from our perspective, it's like I said, with being able to have the whole value chain, and the token is a very good product, or product for giving the chance for investors to be part in the whole chain. Otherwise, it would be kind of difficult for us. But in this case, the token would be perfect. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Tobias. We will link all your, maybe the website for the convertible bond and your website and your socials. People can check it out in the description below. And if you guys want to see more videos, maybe with Tobias, maybe you even have some questions to Tobias, then you can write them in the comments. I'll make sure that we forward it. And then we'll see you in the next video. Take care, guys.
Thanks. Bye-bye.